are very sorry. We apologize for the technical problems that we have had previously. The committee has informed me that everything is already back on track now. We are already joined by our speakers, but we are still waiting for Professor Baikuni to join us back to continue his presentation. So hopefully everyone is okay now. I hope you can hear me clearly at the moment, and also we are hoping that the technical problem will not be happening again later on today, because we are very eager to learn from our speakers that are already joined us today. All right, so Professor Baikuni has already connected. So, okay, Pa, we're very sorry for the technical problem. So now please continue your presentation.
Okay, in which slide I have to start, yeah? Oh, sorry, I'm still disabled, so please become. I still have a disabled to sharing the screen, so can. Okay, now. Okay, shall I start from? I think it's already done at this point, yeah. And I have introduction, and I think I have been in here. Okay, I try to go to the next slide. Yeah, I think I start from here maybe when we are lost because technical problem. Okay, let's explain again the spice. We have a research, UGM have a research on cosmopolis and a route of maritime ecotourism. We try to reconstruct of Indonesian spice route, maritime route in the past, and we try to encourage to be part of World Heritage UNESCO. It is not only valuable for world history, but also mutual collaboration among international communities. For example, our effort for having maritime tourism development. The second is the revitalization of the Indonesian spice archipelago, which is believed to provide opportunity for domestic and global market. These efforts are very important to recover the pandemic COVID-19 and crisis impact. The third, we have some innovation of action, which is doing in the field, like the student have been working in many places of the archipelago, and 1,000 of the students deployed to the field, and they work for 2 months together with the people, improving the situation and the capacity building of the people. We try to strengthen the knowledge with the sharing, training in the human resource capacity building, and also we are trying to share the financial between Kacamata and partners. For example, we hope that we can do some collaboration for the future of action in the ICE Forum members, university, industry, and community. Let's just have explained. I stay in Yogyakarta, where the World Heritage of Prambanan. This building was built in 8th and 9th century, and the Buddhism temple, and also we have a Hinduism temple close to my house here. Only 1 mile away from my house is the Hindu temple, and this is around 45 kilometers from my house. And we can learn from the past that in the 9th century, it is great trading between islands. The panel showing the sail boat, which expression of trading among the community, and they go to the other island, like go to China, go to India, Middle East, Arab, and also then in 15th century, European countries has come to this area to have some kind of trading. So there is the map of trading at the past, and we have to learn again how we can revitalize the old ancient heritage trading to the new ecotourism maritime routes. This is a link between China Silk Route and Indonesian archipelagic spicy route to Middle East, to Europe, and also to other archipelagic country. And we try to see what kind of pattern in the spice cosmopolis where production of the farmer and also trading route. And we see this part of the cities now, it's become popular with marine tourism. And we can learn from the past, from spice trade to marine ecotourism. And we should revitalize again this pattern. And also the spice production center in the area can be part of the culinary, and it is also help for medical treatment or beautiness and other spa and treatment of the during the pandemic COVID. And there are some arena where fourth heritage of spice trading can be seen. This is one island of Banda with 17th century, 611 Fort Belgica in Banda Neira was built by Dutch. We can see this very beautiful, but not yet revitalized as a tourism destination. So how then we can try to rebranding and promoting this island for having new marine tourism. Let's go to a little bit blue economy. Marine ecotourism is part of the blue economy that we can link between from as food to create job and to reduce poverty and hunger. This is part of SDGs 1 and SDGs 2. The goals should create job and reduce poverty. And other link with the issue of renewable energy, shipping with less pollution, and also issue of plastic garbage to reduce in during our activities. And we have a roadmap for sustainable tourism from the concept to collaboration for action. We have some issue that already have said in the video of ICE Forum that we have faced climate change and also COVID-19, but we have to do some collaboration for strategic action, community participation, and connection with the smart and digital business, small, medium enterprise. From that research and reflection of the history, the government tried to have some kind of a vision for sustainable tourism development. During the pandemic COVID, we also formulate some response and action. This is the Indonesian Sustainable Tourism Council, a collaboration between the Ministry of Tourism and creative economy with the industry, university, and the community. We try to formulate a strategy for sustainable tourism development. We have some steps as sustainable tourism destination, sustainable tourism observatory, sustainable tourism certification, sustainable tourism industry, and sustainable tourism marketing and management. We have some item that we try to discuss and how to implement this policy. start from 2004, 2014, the period of we are learning from many activities we have been done, and 2015 and also 2018 we have some activities which relate to the collaboration with the autonomous region, and now we try to have some collaboration with industry and other activities. We have some strategic initiative during pandemic COVID with some implementation together with many stakeholders. One of the program is Indonesian Sustainable Tourism Award, to award the people and the team where implement and improve the destination with the sustainable tourism indicator. We start from 2016 and we have 102 indicators to be implemented in the field. And we have also Indonesia Sustainable Tourism Council with the model of developing the economy, developing the community participation, and also the collaboration with industry and other sector in the field. So let's take one action oriented. One is the marine ecotourism in Karimun Jawa National Park. One is during pandemic COVID, we try to improve the human quality in terms of knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior. We try to create training, capacity building for nature, park manager, rangers, and guides. This is a team with the student and Sentra Selam Jogja and local community as well as the national park manager. Try to improve during the low season of tourists, and we try to improve ourselves for getting safety, security to handle passenger, and also to get the certification and standardization of services. And we have some 6 dimensions of human resources, improving the intellectuality, emotion, social capacity building, ethics, spirituality, and healthy. We try to train the many actors in the field regarding with the marine activities. We try to have some kind of better performance of destination as a whole, because we try to improve the competency, skill, knowledge, attitude, etc. Then we have tourist satisfaction because of quality of services and work in the all chain of tourism industry. Since the improved quality of human resources create opportunity of better work performance towards sustainability and community prosperity, industry performance, and sustainable destination. So during the pandemic, we try to consolidate to improve the human quality. This is the example of the training for guide and certification, because it was lack of training, and we try to improve the qualification with the proper certification and training for them. So the synergy of tourism, trade, and investment. We need tourism can improve and change of the spicy trade in archipelago country, from spice cosmopolis and heritage cities related to the spice production and trade routes. Spice production and processing to downstream industry can be part of tourism attraction. Reconstruction of spice route from tradition trading tourism route need interpretation, innovation, and ICT, information communication technology. So that tourism, trade, and investment can be promoted to revitalize spicy, cosmopolis, and trade route. And we send the student to many places in the area. We have some archipelago action research expedition from 2014 to 2025. And the conclusion is the changing paradigm from continental development to archipelagic sustainable development. I think this is a point that we can share. Thank you very much, Valerina. It's back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Baikuni, for
Sorry for
explaining
getting
to us.
longer. Yeah.
That's okay. We also would like to thank you once again for explaining to us about the marine ecotourism in Indonesia. Especially, you already mentioned about marine ecotourism will be reconstructed along with the Indonesian spice route archipelago, which has existed since 7th century. So that's a new development. And then the second one, we also learned from you that Indonesia has developed Indonesia Sustainable Tourism Council, which I also part of it before I moved to Singapore. This ISTC, which has produced a certification program to adapt to COVID-19 pandemic. And then lastly, you also mentioned about the need to change the paradigm, from continental development to archipelago sustainable development. So, Pak Baikuni, before we continue, I would like to ask you one question.
Yes.
For this, maybe the last 2 years during the pandemic, what do you think is the worst scenario for marine ecotourism in Indonesia, and what do you think is the future of marine ecotourism after this year? For example, next year, we're seeing a lot of countries are opening up these days. They're developing the vaccinated tourism lane, for example. So what do you think about that? It will be a good impact or to Indonesian marine ecotourism in the futures, or what do you think?
Yeah, thank you. We need some kind of commitment from the government and the industry, as well as the community, to create a consolidation strategy first, and then we try to improve what can we do, especially the human quality in doing services, in doing guiding or safety and security in the destination, in the transportation, etc. Then we can promote this. One of the strategy after consolidation is a strategy of diversification, that we should diversify between not only with the tourism, but also the improving the production of the food, culinary, and also we can processing the fish food production to be more healthy and good for trading inter islands. So the third is, of course, we need a strategy of marketing, because we have to communicate to the market that we are ready. After 2 years, we consolidate with internal actor and also synergy with multi-sector. Then we can come up with the better services, better sustainable management in destination. Yeah, I think at least there are 3 strategy to come back, recover, and resilience after crisis.
Okay, thank you for giving that answer. Thank you once again, Pak Baikuni. Ladies and gentlemen, we have learned from Pak Baikuni about the marine ecotourism in Indonesia development. Now we are going to continue to our second speaker. He's Dr. I. Ketut Sudiarta from Department of Living Aquatic Resources Management, Warmadewa University, Denpasar, Bali, and expert team of Bali government on marine and fisheries. So without further ado, Pak Ketut, please start your presentation. The screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Valerina. Good evening and good afternoon for research speaker and all participants. Warmest greeting from Bali. Bali actually down deeply during the COVID-19 pandemic. Please come to Bali. Bali border was start open on yesterday, but still quiet. Okay. I will share a little bit experience and learning from Bali with the title Lesson Learned and Redefining Strategy for Implementation of Marine Ecotourism toward Bali New Era. My simple presentation is divided into four topics. First topic, introduction, a brief description of Bali about nature, people, and culture, and history of Bali tourism. Second topic, Bali marine tourism, about the resource for the competitiveness Bali marine tourism product, market, problem and challenges. And second and third topic, marine ecotourism strategy in Bali New Era, about what is the Bali New Era, marine ecotourism principle adopted in Bali New Era, and marine ecotourism strategy. And the last topic, lesson learned from Bali. First topic, introduction. This is brief of nature, people, and culture of Bali. Bali is a province small island with an area of 5,657 kilometers square and 633 kilometers total of coastline. Based on result of population census in 2020, Bali is inhabited by 4.3 million people, the majority of ethnic Balinese. Balinese people have a way of life with unique culture and form of custom, tradition, religion, art, local wisdom, and spirituality. The community of life system blend with nature and its vibrant culture, makes Bali unique, beautiful, majestic, and sacred small island that attract of the world attention. In the lay of its tourism development, Bali has received various nicknames. The world dubbed Bali as the island of gods, the island of thousand temples, the morning of the world, the paradise island, the last paradise, and the island of love. Now, this is about economy of Bali. Over the last 3 decades, Bali economy has been developed by relying on the tourism sector as its driving pillar. Hotel and restaurant, along with the real estate and properties, dominate investment in Bali. There is also a shift in employment, jumping from an agrarian society to a service society. The economic structure of Bali has become very dominant by the tourism sector. this sector contribute about 58% on gross regional domestic product, where hotel and restaurant contribute 23.3%. On the other hand, the agriculture and marine sector contribute only 13%. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a very severe impact on economy of Bali. The worst compared to other provinces in Indonesia. Economic growth contracted very deeply in 2020, minus 9.3%. Hotel and restaurant growth minus 27.5%, and other sector related with the tourism also contracted very deep. What are lessons learned? The dominance of tourism as the prime mover of the economy has made Bali economy very vulnerable to various shocks, such as terrorism, SARS, and most recently the COVID-19 pandemic. This is the brief about the Bali tourism. Bali tourism has a long history development in line with the history of world tourism development. Judging from its story, Bali tourism has actually started since the Industrial Revolution in Europe. Then the post-World War became the initial milestone of international tourism in Bali. And then the milestone of global tourism in Bali began after the Second World War, which was marked by the construction of the airstrip in Bali in 1940s. Meanwhile, the milestone of modern tourism in Bali began after the independence of the Republic of Indonesia with the construction of an international airport. The existence of this international airport also marked the beginning of mass tourism in Bali until now. Finally, COVID-19 pandemic is the most worrying period for Bali tourism and economy. Tourism has practically started since April 2020. Poverty and unemployment increased dramatically. This is the history of Bali tourism during 1969 until now. Since 1969, as the first statistical record on the number of direct foreign tourists visit to Bali until 2019, Bali tourism has continued grow with a little dynamic. This can be seen from the number of foreign tourists, direct foreign tourists visit to Bali. In its long history, tourism in Bali has experienced various shocks, including twice Bali bombing in 2002, also SARS and avian influenza. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has really knocked down Bali economic with its tourism. Topic 2, marine, Bali marine tourism. The world recognized Bali as a cultural tourism destination. Behind the popularity of Bali as a cultural tourism destination, Bali has also become one of the marine tourism destinations in the world. What is special for Bali as a marine tourism destination besides being a cultural tourism destination? The resource as the basis for competitiveness of Bali marine tourism is the ecologically strategic position of Bali. Bali waters is major corridor of the Indonesian flow. This global current and transporting Pacific Ocean water to Indonesia to the Indian Ocean. The strong influence of the ITF has made Bali water one of the world area with high coral reef biodiversity, a migration corridor for marine mammal and pelagic fish, and a gathering place for some megafauna, such as shark, whale shark, manta ray, and sunfish, mola-mola. Bali is also an important part of a coral triangle, renowned for the globally outstanding marine biodiversity. Bali, there are a total 420 species of hermatypic Scleractinia coral. As one, the location with the highest coral species richness in Asia Pacific and home to more than 1,000 species of redfish. The resource base for the development of Bali marine tourism can be divided into 6 elements. First, beaches, beaches landscapes, seascape, wave, charismatic megafauna. This is the mola-mola is popular in Bali. Coral reefs, and also we have a sirre. Along with the development of tourism in Bali and the increasing appreciation of tourists for marine nature, various products of marine tourist attraction in Bali have also developed, from beach sunbathing until submarine. There are many products of marine attraction in Bali. Bali marine tourism is the largest in Indonesia in terms of the number of visitation and its economic value. In 2017, Bali marine tourism import 7.26 million equivalent visitor trip per year. and generated an economic more than 1,000 million US dollar. The specific for the diet, the main market of marine tourism, tourism, especially for dipping, Europe and USA. Problem and challenges. Bali marine tourism was carried out without an adequate governance system, developed naturally and without a clear direction. The lack of policies and regulation has raised a number of problems, including a lot of illegal business and illegal foreign workers. Local government does not get revenue. Local people do not get a fair income. Marine tourism is a source conflict of with traditional uses. No contribution to conservation. Coral reef damaged by uncontrolled tourism. For example, coralless anchoring, vandalism, trace, and damage by divers. The damage to the core resource is actually contributed by tourism itself. I call it tourism kill tourism. Now, this problem must be ended through improved governance towards sustainable marine tourism by optimizing ecotourism approach and principle as a grand strategy. The challenges are redefining ecotourism strategy into structuring policies and regulation. Also, social transformation through a change in people ways of thinking and behavior in the new era of Bali. Topic 3, marine ecotourism strategy in Bali new era. What is Bali new era? Bali New Era was launched by Governor of Bali since the end of 2018. Bali New Era is an era marked by a new order of life, a holistic life order in maintaining the balance of nature, people, and Balinese culture. Bali New Era is realized by fundamentally and comprehensively managing the development of Bali, which includes three main aspects: nature, people, and culture. In the economic sector, the Bali New Era is pursued through economic transformation to accelerate the balancing of Bali economic structure among tourism, agriculture, marine industry, culture-based creative industry, and also the digital economy. In this way, the tourism sector is no longer the main driver of the economy. The tourism that will develop it in Bali is high quality, which is closely related to other sectors, both forward and backward linkage. Now, for the nature and culture-based tourism, quality tourism relies on the implementation of ecotourism principle. Ecotourism principle adopted in development and implementation of quality and competitive marine tourism in Bali, we call CECES, The first, conservation, contribute to preservation and conservation of heritage, both nature and culture, including local wisdom. Educational, build awareness, respect, ethic, and morality toward nature, culture, and fellow human being. Community, providing fair benefit to host or local communities in order to improve their quality of life and capacity. Environmentally friendly, minimal negative impact on nature, culture, social, and economy. And the last principle, satisfaction, providing satisfying services and meaningful experiences for customer or tourists. Now, Bali Marine Ecotourism Strategy in the Bali New Era, we have 4 strategy. The first, institutional arrangement. This is focus on preparing regulation as management instrument for implementing ecotourism effectively. The second, effective marine protected areas management. MPS-based ecotourism through strengthening management unit, sustainable financing mechanism, and strengthening resource management for effective MPS management. Third, infrastructure and facilities, build infrastructure to improve accessibility, connectivity, and service quality. And fourth, marine ecotourism village. We develop traditional village-based marine tourism to provide added economic value for coastal communities by optimizing local community participation in supporting sustainable marine tourism. This is the institutional arrangement preparing regulation as management instrument for implementing ecotourism effectively. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we preparing several regulation, local regulation on coastal usoning. This is a legal instrument for the allocation of coastal and marine space and for conflict resolution. Local regulation on Bali tourism standard. This is the legal instrument to improve the quality, sustainability, and competitiveness of Bali tourism. Local regulation on tourist contribution to protection of environment and culture of Bali. This is legal instrument to improve the quality of tourism service, overcome to the negative impact of tourism, restoration, conservation, and revitalization of the environment and culture through the contribution of tourists. Local regulation on conservation service fee. This is a legal instrument to raise fund for resource users. For resource user to provide adequate funding for marine conservation. Governor regulation on governance of Bali tourism. This is legal instrument for implementation of tourism good governance to ensure the quality and sustainability of Bali tourism toward the Bali New Era. And governor regulation on protection of lakes, water spring, river, and sea. This is legal instrument to mobilize community participation in environmental protection effort, including the sea. Second strategy, effective marine protected areas management. Bali have 47,000 and 709 hectares of coastal water has been reserved and designated as marine protected areas. Effective marine protected areas management is carried out by realizing MPS as a blue economic center, the center of economic growth with a blue economic approach and strict implementation of ecotourism principle. The main strategy are strengthening MPA management units, includes human resources, standard operating procedure and facilities, strengthen the protection of important ecosystem component by rehabilitation to accelerate the recovery of the mass habitat and fish population, and develop sustainable financing mechanism for MPS management through conservation service fee. This is extra ticket for diving, water recreation, surfing, cruise, recreational fishing, photography, research, and education. Third strategy, infrastructure and facilities during the COVID-19 pandemic. Bali very massive build the infrastructure to increase accessibility, structure. For example, Bali Maritime Tourism Hub. This is under construction. This is the Indonesian largest cruise ship for terminal hub. This is realizing Bali as one of important port for of a world cruise ship. Also, Bali Marina. This is under construction. Hub terminal for small boat and yachts to support marine tourism around Bali and connect with marine tourism destination beyond Bali, especially the east part in Lombok and Flores Island. Also integrated ports. Yeah. This is local tourism ports in Sanur, Nusa Penida, and Nusa Lembongan, strengthening connectivity between the Bali Island and marine tourism destination on a small island. And for strategy, marine ecotourism village, making marine ecotourism a vehicle for education, awareness raising, business learning, and at the same time raising their responsibilities in preserving the environment and culture. There are three agenda: developing marine ecotourism product, managed by coastal community as an alternative business and livelihood, strengthening the role of traditional village community collectively in protecting, conserving, maintaining, improving marine ecosystem and their empowerment as the basis for the sustainable tourism business, and strengthening the integration, appreciation, and preservation of Balinese culture into marine ecotourism product. The last topic, lesson learned from Bali. Regardless of the COVID-19 pandemic, Bali has committed to developing an economy that is no longer a single basket of tourism sector. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Bali provincial government had launched an economic transformation policy to balance the tourism sector with other sector toward the Bali New Era. Tourism development in the Bali New Era is quality tourism, adhering to standard and guided by a number of new regulation. Quality and competitive marine tourism is implemented with ecotourism approach and principle in accordance with the value of Balinese culture and local wisdom. Quality, competitive, and sustainable marine ecotourism is tagged through the establishment of MPS and managing them effectively, supported by a sustainable financing mechanism for conservation service fee from the conservation service fee, and implementation of all policies and strategy of the marine ecotourism require strong local commitment and courage to end disorder. Thank you for attention. One greeting from Bali. Time for Valerina.
Thank you, Pak Ketut, for your presentation. So it is very interesting to learn that Bali, or maybe COVID-19 pandemic, has shaped the tourism strategy in Bali. As we also learned from Pak Ketut that now the government has initiated social transformation through changes in people's way of thinking of new era of Bali by defining that now the Bali new era means a holistic life order by maintaining balance of nature, people, and culture. And also, the most important thing that we learned today is that now the government said that the tourism sector is no longer the main thing of economy in Bali, but it will still be developed by the quality tourism principles, as we also learn about the conservation, educational, communities, environmentally friendly, and satisfaction. So we thank you for your presentation, Pak. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please forward your questions on our Q&A box. And then I will read your questions and forward it to the speakers that you are going to ask later on after we hear another presentations from our speakers. But before that, I would like to inform you that to appreciate your interest in the marine ecotourism topic, we will have a very interesting souvenirs for those who ask the most interesting questions. So please keep questioning, or please keep forwarding your questions. And the souvenirs will be sent worldwide, regardless of your location at the moment. Please write your best questions in Q&A box. We will announce the winner in the end of the session. So once again, we are looking forward to your questions. So now we are going to moving on to our next speaker. So now we have our speakers from Cyprus, Mr. Philippe Drusiotis, Chairman of Cyprus Sustainable Tourism Initiative, or CSTI, and also Ms. Yana Orfanidou, Associate Department Head, University of Nicosia, and CSTI Board Member. So for you, I believe you're going to do the presentation together, but first I will invite Ms. Yana to present.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. Looking forward to share our contribution to a sustainable tourism development in Cyprus, and hopefully that we will add to these lovely presentations from the previous two speakers so far. So let me first share my screen here. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Hello from Cyprus. Good afternoon here in Cyprus. My name is Yanni Orfanitou. I'm a board member of the Cyprus Sustainable Tourism Initiative. As well, I'm the associate head of the Department of Hospitality, Tourism and Sports Management at the University of Nicosia. Once more, thank you for the invitation. Our presentation today is to introduce you to our activities as a Cyprus Sustainable Tourism Initiative, and to provide you, my role is to provide you an overall of all the actions we have been taking since 2006. So some highlights of the Cyprus Sustainable Tourism Initiative, actions and projects. Since the beginning, it's very important to mention that the need of create a non-governmental organization in Cyprus is started from tour operators and asking to see some activities, and especially from the beginning with a collaboration in 2004 with the Travel Foundation, searching to find representatives in the island in order to minimize the negative impacts of the British tourists here in Cyprus, as the British market is one of the major markets in Cyprus. Since, the last data that we have in 2019, it was almost the 50% of our tourists here in Cyprus are coming from the British market. So CSTI took a more official form in 2006, a group of passionate individuals, all of us volunteers from academia and industry and different sectors of the economy in Cyprus, having as a motion to promote the development of sustainable approach to tourism in Cyprus through the preservation, conservation, and the protection of the environment, the sensible use of natural resources, and the improvement of the social and economic conditions of marginalized rural communities of Cyprus. So always our mission, it was the inclusive growth. We started a very big project in 2006 that was finalized in 2010 of creating village routes in order to promote the whole island of Cyprus and the marginalized rural communities. So to create awareness, to create development, to create economic growth for the various communities in Cyprus. Various activities, we continue with tree planting and trying to create awareness and apply the research in order to have measurable and tangible results for the industry in Cyprus, for the tourism industry in Cyprus. When we start discussing about sustainability in the island of Cyprus, it was a new word. It was something that, no one was knowledgeable of what sustainability. So in 2009, we organized the first International Waste Management Conference in collaboration with the University of Nicosia, which actually create a new form of how we develop tourism in Cyprus, and we start create awareness about sustainable activities and best practices, minimizing the negative impact of tourism. One of the things that helped us a lot, and I'm glad that I heard about the importance of public-private partnerships. In 2010, as NGO, we managed to have one of the first agreements in the tourism area with the Cyprus Destination Partnership, that we had a collaboration with the Cyprus Tourism Organization, the Cyprus Sustainable Tourism Initiative, as well the Travel Foundation. So that was a 5 years partnership in order to establish various research and projects minimizing the impact, the negative impact of tourism. Through the 5 years of partnership, a lot of projects they have been actually initiated, and we're very, very happy because in 2021, we see the continuation and the sustainable development of those projects, this is something that we are, is our mission and vision. Plastic and the marine environment, it was one of our major concerns. So early in 2011, even before Europe was discussing about the plastic reduction, definitely we have observed that there is a major need in order to minimize the plastic in our Mediterranean Sea. Through our sustainable activities, we have actually managed, through the collaboration, through the partnership, the Cyprus Destination Partnership, to be among the candidates for an award in the World Travel Market in 2015. And actually, Cyprus won the Silver Award as the best destination for responsible tourism. We start as an organization after our 10th-year celebration to have a more solid basis and knowledge, and creating a network that allows us to start collaboration with foundations like the Prince Albert II Foundation, and being among the winners in some projects with the support of the Prince Albert II of Monaco Foundation. Projects that they emphasize on preserve the Mediterranean Sea and focus on maritime ecotourism and development. Since 2006 until today, 2021, it's been 5 years that we implement and we focus in the marine environment. And you can see from the slide, I mean, the different milestones for the Cyprus Sustainable Tourism Initiative, with being right now one of implementing one big project, the Keep Our Sun and Sea Plastic Free, and collaborate with the biggest non-governmental organization for like IUCN, and we launched the Plastic Waste Free Islands in Cyprus in collaboration with another NGO, the Together Cyprus. So here in Cyprus, there are a lot of initiatives from non-governmental organizations that they try to push the island of Cyprus to a more sustainable direction. And we are very, very proud because, I mean, with the contribution of individuals, we managed to push as well the policymakers, and actually sustainable development right now is a major pillar of the Deputy Ministry of Tourism for the tourist development in Cyprus. Some of the other activities that we have realized that we need to focus definitely through the collaboration, the network, the information that we gather through the research. We realize that now there is a lot of substance and information and knowledge, and we can convince the business sector that sustainability is good for business and it's the key to the future. So through the COVID-19 experience and the pandemic, definitely Cyprus is not the exception. As a touristic island, have observed a tremendous shrinkage, yes, of the tourism industry the last 2 years. But what is very, very important is that through sustainable activities and practices, we can create a more resilient tourism industry. And this is a message that is very important today to pass through this session. Tourism industry needs to create, it's an opportunity, yes, to restart in a sustainable way, and destinations that still there on their development stage, definitely they have they have a lot of opportunities in order to create a more sustainable tourism product. And one of our future goals is to set up a CST Academy. So follow us, stay tuned. All right, it's coming soon. And we believe that knowledge is there to be shared. And something that is very important to share with you is that all the materials and all the handouts and all the research outputs, they are available on our website. And you are free, to go and visit and see what we have produced since 2006. We focus on our oceans and seas, so definitely now is not the time. We are quite late, but at least we can take actions right now. So the sustainable actions for our planet, climate change is here. It's widespread. It's something that prior COVID-19 it was the #1 in the agenda of all the countries, and now is the time to focus and see how we can actually minimize the negative impact. And tourism industry, even though we don't like to admit that, is a major contributor to and the climate change and the pollution that it creates. So the sea is something that we share, all of us. Yes, as islands is the wealth that we have, and it's a major part of the tourist product. The more plastic we make, the more fossil fuels we need. Sunlight and heat cause plastic to release powerful greenhouse gases. The planet gets hotter. The plastic breaks down into more methane and ethylene, increasing the rate of climate change. And actually, these increases of temperature has changed as well the traditional, tourist destinations for sun and sea, observing a high increase in temperature. They're putting in risk their product. So as a CSTI, we tried always to promote inclusion and clean tourism. It's time for the tourism industry to change, to reduce its environmental impact and address the crisis of climate change. And the tourists are well educated, they demand. And as a CSTI, we have a close collaboration with the tour operators that give us a lot of accessibility as far as promoting our projects and research. And there is a demand for from the travelers, and they show preferences to destinations that actually they promote sustainable actions, not in theory, but in practice, which is very, very important. Discussing about plastic right now, it's been years before discussing about alternative methods of energy, different materials that we can utilize. But in reality, plastic is very, very popular. So plastic is very popular because it has a lot of advantages. It's inexpensive, easy to shape, lightweight, airtight, insulating, elastic, extremely resistant. So the reason that we continue to use it, and this is something that we observe heavily even now with the COVID-19, we have created a tremendous excess of plastic waste, and there is not the same balance as far as reuse or recycle. So only 20% of the plastic that is produced, it can be actually reused to produce energy. So even though we're discussing about reuse, is not the way forward in order to minimize the pollution. Right. I have some nice key features in order to understand the problem we face in the Mediterranean Sea. In the Mediterranean, if the plastic pollution is equal to 8 to 10 million tons of plastic waste in the ocean every year, the Mediterranean, unfortunately, gathers 5 to 10% of the global plastic mass. So you realize that the Mediterranean faces a major problem with the pollution, and Mediterranean and the sea it needs to be the method and the mean of bringing life, yes, which is very, very important. So the problem is huge. In recent research, we have observed that if we continue with the same rate, we will have more plastic waste than fish in the ocean by 2050. Over 1 million birds, 100,000 marine mammals, and a high number of other animals like the turtles and the fish belonging to 700 species killed every year by ingesting plastic or getting entangled in it. So a lot of the plastic that actually creates the waste is a plastic that we're using in our daily activities, like cups, straws, cutlery, plastic bags, takeaway food containers. And you realize that all what I mentioned here, especially with the increase and the need of the use of single-use material, plastic the last 2 years, it was king in our daily life routine. Approximately 86% of marine litter is plastic. There is a pathway in order to understand how the plastic enters in the world's ocean, starting from the production, a production of 270 million tons per year of plastic. But actually the waste that we produce annually, it's even a bit more than the production, because we have the waste as well and the production from previous years that will end up as a waste. Go through the schedule here, you observe that this is a research focus on a 2 billion people living within 50 kilometers of coastline. So having those figures, we end up with 8 million tons of plastic inside our lovely oceans. New findings in April of 2020, a study showed that microplastics being released into the atmosphere by the ocean itself. So it's not just the plastic that we can observe in the oceans, but now the plastic is in the air that we breathe. So up to 19 microplastic pieces per cubic meter of found air. So you realize that it's not the plastic that we can see, but as well, it's all over now, and we consume it and we breathe it as well. If we see the Mediterranean Sea, and somewhere here you can see lovely Cyprus, 22 countries across 3 continents, Africa, Asia, and Europe. We have 46,000 kilometers of coastline, population around 408 million, approximately 1/3 of this population are concentrated along its coastal regions. One of the worst busiest shipping routes as well, Mediterranean region is the world #1 tourist destination. The pollution, all right, is increased here as it's a closed sea. You can observe, all right, that we're discussing about closed sea. So all the pollution produced from the different areas, I mean, it's just moving around the same territory. One of the highest concentrations of plastic in the world, reaching in some beaches and seafloor of coastal areas over 95%. Unfortunately, Cyprus has its own percentage of this plastic waste. The waste in the seabed of Cyprus is equal with 67%. That figures, they're coming from the Blues Islands project in 2017, counting the plastic in 3 specific areas in Cyprus. And based on the main 3 items that they were found, it was mesoplastics, cigarettes, and microplastics. Why is it important to prevent the plastic pollution? Plastic pollution is the most widespread problem affecting the marine environment. It threatens the ocean health, the food safety and quality, the human health, the coastal tourism, and contributes to the climate change. The benefits of plastic management helps preserve the environment, compliance with the EU legislation, prevention of pollution. It reduces the need for raw materials collection. It saves energy. It reduces GHGs that contribute to climate change, which is very important. It reduces cost. This is something that the business sector can be related with. And it reduces the amount of waste that ends up in landfills. And last but not least, allows full use of the products. At this point, I just wanted to give you the overall research behind the projects of Cyprus Sustainable Tourism Initiative, what we try to achieve with our projects to create a more sustainable development for the tourism for the island of Cyprus, and as well to share our know-how and the knowledge that we have gained the last 15 years. I will pass to the chairman of the Cyprus Sustainable Tourism Initiative, Mr. Philippos Rousodis, to continue with the applied part of our projects.
Thank you, Yana.
I'll stop sharing. I think that now you are ready to share.
Just a second. Okay. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting inviting CSTI to participate in this very interesting webinar. I would like to also say thank you to the previous presenters who told us very interesting things. I'd like also to thank my colleague Yana, who shared very in detail what we have done since the last 15 years. I've been the chairman since the very beginning of the Cyprus Sustainable Tourism Initiative. And we are very proud that we managed to achieve a lot of things during these 15 years. We managed to mobilize the people, make the people aware about the world of sustainability, about the importance of taking care of the environment and having responsible tourism. Before I start sharing with you my presentation, I'd like to just say what people are scared right now. I don't know if it was said earlier, but we had the climate change crisis and we have the COVID-19 crisis. And a lot of people compare these two crises and see, and they say, you know, the climate change is more dangerous. We'll have more deaths because of the climate change, but it will take time. What we want the people is to react the same way that we reacted with the COVID-19. But with COVID-19, the results were so immediate, so we have to do something. But we need to address the climate change as soon as possible if we want to secure the destinations to be visited by tourists for the future generations of the tourists. So this is very important. As an organization, we will be being very much involved in a lot of projects. We recently were more engaged with regard with the plastic. And this is, we see something here that avoid the plastic bottles consumption by putting glass bottles of water dispensers for your guests. This is one thing that I'll give you an example that was mentioned earlier from Yana. We had in 10 years ago, we had a project with Thomas Cook. We had an all-inclusive hotel. It was using a bottle, a small bottle, plastic bottle, each time the guest was asking for water. So this hotel was operating for 184 days, was committed to Thomas Cook. That means it was 100% fully booked all days. It was using 1,100 plastic bottles a day. And it was not making extra income just because it was part of the all-inclusive package. We managed to convince this hotel to give filtered water in reusable cups, not in plastic cups. And we managed to save 1,100 plastic bottles in a day. So multiply this by 184 days, you'll be able to understand the economic benefits and the benefits to the environment. So this is one way to tell the people solutions. So we became practical in order to tell people solutions. So we provide straw to the customer only if requested. So this is one way. We train the bartenders not to put the straws on the cocktails and umbrellas and things like that. This was in the past. It's no longer very important. We store shampoo and shower gels or soap dispensers in shower toilets. So this is very good, avoiding the individual. Replace plastic cocktail stirrers with wooden stirrers. Replace plastic cutlery and wooden stainless steel, or at least biodegradable. Prefer to buy food in cardboard packages than plastic. Purchase cleaning matter in bulk. And replace plastic bean bags with compostable biodegradable bags. I'll give you another example here, just to be very practical about the plastic bags. We convinced hotels in Cyprus, 5-star hotels, to not use plastic bag in the bin that is in the room, in the bedroom. And we informed the clients that they can use the bin in the bathroom. So we only used one plastic bag in the room, one in the bathroom, and we didn't use any plastic bag in the room. So that way we minimize in half the consumption of plastic bags, and that did not jeopardize the quality of service we provided to our clients. So this is very important. Sustainable tourism is what we promote, and do not jeopardize the quality of service to our clients. But our clients change, they become more environmentally friendly, and they are asking things. And when we did a survey in this hotel, when we did these two small actions, stop using plastic bottles and using one plastic bag in the room, they found this idea excellent, and they encourage us to do it in other hotels. So this is a way forward. So this is an encouragement for other hotels to introduce practices like this. And plastic is, you have to remember that it has the use of finite source is toxicity of constituent activity, and it's also, it takes a lot of years, up to 500 years to biodegrade in the ocean. So this is very important. So cigarette butts, plastic grocery bags, all these things we find in the ocean, they don't biodegrade, and they take a lot of time in the ocean. Some of the fish eat them, they kill fishes, and they also come to our food chain as well. So we have all these problems with our health. As an organization, was well mentioned by Jana earlier, we started a cooperation with the Prince Albert Foundation. We're part of the BMed initiative. We did a project, that's where we saw how much garbage we collected from a sea with the help of the divers. And this particular project was to reduce the plastic used and become waste in the free entertainment cruises, the mini cruises we call them, and all the water sport activities initiative. In this project, we introduce a lot of webinars, seminars to tell the people, train the people to avoid using single-use plastic, and also to avoid throwing the plastic in the sea. The plastic-free entertainment cruises water sport activity, it was a project that was supported by MIBED as well, and we managed to disseminate these best practices to not only Cyprus, but to other BMed countries that they participate in similar projects. So the target group for this particular project was the small cruise ships, the sailboats, the water sports recreation centers, the local authorities, the municipalities, port authorities, the users of marine activities, and of course, the tourists. In this particular project, the donors of the project was the Prince Albert Foundation, South Friday Foundation, Tara Expeditions Foundation, MAVA Foundation, IUCN, International Union for Conservation in the Energy. So we try to join forces with Beyond Plastic Med to mobilize and raise awareness of society. Together, we can do a lot more. And as Jana said, all the findings of our projects, they are posted on our website, and they are also both languages, in Greek and in English. The MIBED mission was to support and develop the network of Mediterranean stakeholders committed to curbing plastic pollution, implement effective and sustainable solutions, and support the research for novel solutions, engage stakeholders and the public by raising awareness and disseminating best practices. And that's why we're very proud that we disseminate our practices to the whole island and to other countries as well. As an organization, we're very proud to be the first signatory in Cyprus of the Global Tourist Plastic Initiative, and which is led by the UNEP and the UNWTO in collaboration with Ellen MacArthur Foundation. The Global Tourist Plastics Initiative unites the tourist sector behind a common vision to address the root of causes plastic pollution. This is very important, and we're very proud to be part of this initiative. As mentioned earlier, we are part of the project Plastic Waste Free Islands Med project. We try to find the root from where the sources of the pollution of the Mediterranean, from 3 different areas: the general waste, the tourist sector, and also the fisheries department. And we try to find solutions to minimize this waste, this plastic waste that ends up in the sea. We are the 2 islands that participate in the Mediterranean. It is Cyprus and Menorca. There are, I think, 2 islands in the Caribbean and 2 islands in Oceania. This project, we're doing it with another non-profit organization in Cyprus, Together Cyprus. One project that we're very proud and which has been very popular, and it has created a lot of awareness, not only in Cyprus, but all over the world, is the Keep Our Sun Sea Plastic Free. It's a project that is funded by the TWI Care Foundation in partnership with the Travel Foundation and CSDI. Here, I would like to mention that the fact that we are associated with TWI, the biggest tour operator, and with other international organizations, and the fact that we deliver, that gave us the leverage. We are very convincing in the local tourist market when we ask the people to participate and take actions addressing the plastic pollution problem that we have in the island. Cyprus was chosen because 80% of the rubbish collected on Cyprus beaches is plastic waste, as mentioned earlier. Microplastics have been found at all locations and depths at 15 marine turtle nesting beaches in Cyprus. And Cyprus is the 2nd highest producer of municipal waste in the EU, of which only 16% is currently recycled. So we have a long way to go. This project, particularly, I would like to say a few more words about this project, is to reduce the amount of single-use plastic waste generated in an area, the eastern part of Cyprus, the wider Famagusta region, we call it, and support the long-term goal to becoming a plastic-free zone. So we focus in one area, which is the busiest and more touristic area of the island. Resort-wide campaign, we raise awareness of the issue with tourists, residents, and school children to reduce demand for single-use plastics. So to raise awareness with residents, we take the residents to participate. We do various entertainment activities. We did webinar, one for Christmas, for example, and we installed this whale in the sea where they can put the plastic instead of being ended up in the sea. And we reach more by doing all these activities, by talking to radio, by talking to TV, and having some advertisement in billboard signs. We reach more than 20,000 residents of that area. We almost reach all the residents of that area, I would say. We raise awareness among children. We have a project manager, which is very good environmentalist and educator. So she went to schools and she educated more than 1,500 students with regard with the impact of the plastic pollution, encouraging the students not to use single-use plastic. And as you know, the children is our hope. We raise awareness among the tourists, we call them stakeholders, partners. That means we got hotels to participate. We share knowledge with hotels. We tell them alternatives, what to do in order to reduce the use of single-use plastics and how to avoid the pollution of the Mediterranean. So at the moment, we have more than 100 hotels, restaurants that they participate. They are members of the project, they participate, and we do various activities with them. And then we develop a very interesting project animation, which is both in English and in Greek. We did it, and it was translated, and it was adjusted. So it's shown through TUI, the tour operator TUI, all over the world. So right now, allow me to show you this, see this video. Hopefully you can see it. Oh, sorry.
Can you hear the waves breaking on the sand? Can you feel the soft morning sun on your face as you relax on the beach. The coolness of the turquoise waters. Now, can you feel that plastic bag getting caught on your foot as you swim? That plastic wrapper you just stepped on? That discarded face mask that's trapping small turtles? Is this really what you want to experience? Cyprus is full of beautiful beaches. We love them, so we have to protect them. 80% of the waste collected on our beaches is plastic. Plastic litter kills seabirds and marine mammals, while microplastics are swallowed by fish, entering our food chain. This means that we end up eating the plastic too. If we don't do something, by 2050, there will be more plastic than fish in our seas. With a few small, simple acts, we can make a big difference. We can rethink our choices. We can refuse unnecessary plastics like straws and excess packaging. We can reduce our plastic use by choosing alternative materials, such as glass, paper, or fabric. Hotels, restaurants, and other local businesses can contribute by continuing to cut down on single-use plastic. Also, we don't need to throw away everything after one use. We can reuse plastic containers and bags and bring our own reusable coffee cups. And of course, we must recycle. Look out for the designated recycling bins. By cutting down on single-use plastics, we protect our seas and our beaches. We conserve our marine wildlife. We rethink our actions and make Cyprus an even more attractive place to be. We protect what we love for now and for future generations. We keep our sand and sea plastic-free.
As I said, this project is doing very well. The video was adjusted to be shown to other destinations, and it's available through TUI. This video has been is at the lobbies of the hotels. We try to put it on the airport, and a lot of people have seen it, and we have received a very positive impact. Under this project, we created the first plastic-free beach. And in that beach, we installed a water station where it's provided filter and cold water, so we encourage the users of the beach not to use plastic bottles, to have their own reusable bottles, and we encourage people not to throw the cigarette butts on the beach, and all these activities with the restaurants over there. So we see that there is a momentum, and we try to keep it that way, and we like to share all these things. And tourism is an industry that is resilient. It's resilient as the olive trees of Cyprus, and will come back, you'll be sure. The challenge, though, is for the tourism industry to come back better, come back more responsible. So alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. Together in the CSTI team spirit, we stand. And we are very pleased and thankful that you invited us to this webinar to share with you what we have done these last years. And we hope the tourism will come back. Thank you very much, and thank you very much from Cyprus, the island of love. And for those of you who don't know, Cyprus is also considered to be the island of love. As a lot of myths have it, the god of beauty, Aphrodite, the goddess of love, was born here. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Liana and Mr. Philippos, for your presentation. We learned that Cyprus has already initiated sustainable tourism since the year 2006, so it's 15 years already. And we also know that in the beginning, people in Cyprus are not aware of sustainable tourism, but a series of events have been initiated by the government and also the non-government partners. In such initiatives like Actions for Our Planet, for example, the reductions of plastic regulations also have been implemented. So thank you very much for Ms. Yana and Mr. Philippos. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now the time for me to open the Q&A Q&A sessions. As we already mentioned earlier, that the questioners or the people who forwarded the questions will be awarded by souvenirs by the committee. Now, I will read the first question that have been selected from the Q&A box. It is from Bakri Bakri. The principle of sustainable tourism by UNWTO is ensuring that the sustainable tourism is beneficial to the locals. However, the development of marine ecotourism seems so pricey, thus dominated by international investors without providing direct impact to the locals. So how do you see this case, especially in most popular destination like Bali? So maybe Pak Ketut first, you can answer this question if you are still with us. Pak Ketut, please give your comments. Or maybe Pak Ketut is not ready because his camera is still off. So maybe I will ask this question to Mr. Filippos first, because you also destinations which heavily located in the archipelago as well. So maybe you can tell us about this kind of development. Is this also happen in Cyprus?
It is happening in Cyprus, and then in Cyprus we had what we call the linear model, where we thought the more tourists we have, the more money we'll make. So right now things are changing. We like to focus on attracting the correct number of people, finding the sweet spot, the carrying capacity of the island. So we don't need to keep adding hotels, adding rooms, adding charter flights to come to the island, and so forth, and building hotels on the beach and destroying the coastal area. And most of the tourism in the island is on the coastal area, definitely. So there are some initiatives, and we are very pleased to see the Deputy High Commissioner is having some initiatives to, first of all, not to focus on increasing the numbers, to try some initiatives to increase the period of tourists, so they don't have such a high season and the period that we don't have tourists at all, encourage the tourists in the countryside, in the mountains. And then we encourage more the quality of tourists. So hopefully these restrictions will be able to minimize all the problems that they have to do by keep adding development by the sea area. So this is very important, I think. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So Pak Ketut is ready to give your answer. Yeah, please unmute yourself first, Pak.
Okay. Sorry, please repeat the question.
Okay, the questions is about how can the locals how can the locals also benefited from the marine ecotourism, which is already dominated by international investors?
Yes. Now, Bali government had a program we call traditional village tourism. This is a program for optimizing the participation of local communities, especially based on traditional village, to manage it, the economic potential in marine ecotourism.
Okay, do you think that strategy has already improved, already provide positive impact?
Yes. This is opportunity for local people to operate the business on the ecotourism through the empowerment of local people through the traditional village.
Okay, Prof. Baikuni, would you like to add from your experience?
Yeah, I think it is very important to create approach that is community-based tourism, where the people can participate in the tourism business as providers or guide and also food operator, etc. And Pak Bakri asking about how can local people get the benefit from the marine ecotourism. Of course, there is need some collaboration between the investor and also the local community. So there is the duty of the government to create more opportunity for the local people, like creating training, certification, or organization development. Also the role of the university to have some student, thousands of students can deploy to the area where we can create a dialogue with the community to organize them and to get the create job in the tourism industry. I agree that we should develop the approach from the community level and collaboration among the industry and government. So the collaboration be part of SDGs number 17, that we need collaboration to create a stronger and interlink between community, industry, and also the government policy to bring sustainable tourism more place in the action and on the ground. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Baikuni. Now we have question number 2 from Ima Haryanja. How do you balance between building modern ecotourism facilities to attract tourists and the local wisdom that you have to keep at the very first place? So maybe Ms. Yana can answer this from your experience in Cyprus.
I was answering questions actually on the chat. So can you repeat the question?
Okay, how do you balance between building modern ecotourism facilities to attract tourists and the local wisdom that you have to keep at the very first place?
Hi, what is very important is that there is the demand. I mean, the market sets up how you react as a destination. And we have to be in a position always to understand our guests, understand their needs and wants. And there is global pressure actually now to move to this direction. So I mentioned before that definitely sustainable practices, if they are not good for business, it's very difficult to promote them. That's why I gave the example of the plastic. So plastic is a product that is very, very difficult to replace it. Yes, but we can show that with sustainable practices and with ecotourism, friendly tourism or clean tourism as we name it, is something that can make our tourism industry more resilient and continue having the flow of tourists. I mean, right now we are facing the high demand of the eco-travelers, people that they are sensible and responsible travelers, and they're searching to find destinations that actually they're taking actions. So it's an opportunity for destinations and for the mature destinations like Cyprus and the emerging destinations to capture on this opportunity, reflect, and show with applied practices and promote themselves as an eco-sustainable destinations.
Okay, thank you. How about from Bali's experience, Pak Ketut, can you share us how do you balance between building modern ecotourism facilities to attract tourists and the local wisdom that you have to keep at the very first place?
Okay, but Bali need modern infrastructure and facilities to improve accessibility, connectivity, and also service quality. This is not directly related to the local wisdom. The local wisdom in Bali, especially based on traditional village, this is important important for the control of tourism, because traditional village have a strong regulation, the local regulation. This is very important to the future for managing the quality marine ecotourism. This is clear, not directly related to the modern infrastructure, but Bali needs modern infrastructure to provide high quality services for tourists. Thank you.
Okay, we have another question from Yudo Hartono. Dear all presenters, I want to know how all of you try to educate the value of sustainable to your target markets, consumers or tourists. How do you know these values that you try to implement can change their behavior to be more aware and care to the nature and contribute more to the local community? What kind of channels do you choose to promote these values? I think it's hard to campaign these values to tourists and try to shift their mind to be more reflective through our campaign on sustainable tourism activities. So maybe Mr. Philippos can answer this question.
But I'll try to share with you what we are doing in this last project that we're doing with Keep Our Sun and Sea Plastic Free. We believe that by educating people, we change behavior. So it is our hope. So in this project, that's why we set up a goal to train the youngsters in the elementary schools, in the kindergartens, and even in the secondary schools, to tell them about the problems of the plastic. They seem to understand. We get them engaged, involve them into all these things, so they will become the new ambassadors. So we'll be able to change their parents even, to change their behavior. So this awareness, and we try to use maybe social media. We try to use their tools that they like most to get even the animation that I show, the animation video that I show you. Our goal is to show it to all the elementary schools in the island. So this will leave some in the back of their minds, that they will think twice when they go to the beach the next time, not to use plastic, not to throw the plastic, even try to convince their parents. So this is an effort that we try to do it. Of course, sometimes in Cyprus, we also say, let's put some laws as well. Let's enforce the laws as well and give penalties, or encouraging people for doing the right thing. That's also another way to achieve the end result. This is very important. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So you're involved in the youth and the social media. Very creative. Now, Pak Baikuni, maybe you can add to that.
Yes, thank you. I agree with Mr. Philippos that we should create a basic education for kids and young people using multimedia. This is very, very important. Even we can create collaboration, and we propose for ICE Forum to facilitate it, that we can create competition of the making a video with the handphone or something, simple camera. And for young people, maybe from 41 country, we can expect that they can send to for creating competition, and we can select 5 or 10 best video that this can useful for a public campaign. We should learn from the young people, from the millennial generation, from the native digital, how they work and how they think. It is a very important start from their own perspective. Then we can create the forum for dialogue among the youth. I think ICE have a program like that, and we can support that for sharing with among the member countries. I think it is good that we can not only talking and sharing the experience, but also doing some action-oriented, especially for involving the young people to talk with their own language, their own perspective, and they can create action as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Kuni.
If I may add here,
yes, of course.
We also engage the artists. So in one of the beaches that I mentioned earlier, we created the plastic-free beach. We have the divers and the people collecting the garbage from the beaches and from the sea. We created a turtle with the garbage that we found in the sea and on the beaches. And that turtle is about 3 meters wide, is on the beach and has a message. So people who pass there, they read this message, they wonder about it. This is a very strong message that we give. And another thing that we did recently, we created with the High Commissioner, the British High Commissioner, we related with the COP26 that is coming up. We created a photo exhibition where we on the photos, we tell the problem, we tell the solutions and the alternatives. So this exhibition will travel all over the island. So hopefully this will convey messages. So people will hopefully change their behavior eventually, hopefully. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So also using arts very creatively. Thank you, Mr. Philippos, Miss Yana, Pak Kuni, and Pak Ketut for answering the questions. Now, before we conclude this event, I would like to ask each of you, our speakers, to give a concluding remark. So please start from Pak Kuni.
Yes, we try to use our strategy in education. Because we have so many students, we have 50,000 student body, and every year we have some deploy the action research and doing some community service. So we try to have some kind of continual improvement in the field. We are not only learning from the theoretical perspective, but we have to learn from the action research. It is very important to bring the student interact with the community to analyze the problem and potentials in the field, and together with the community, they create planning and continual solution, so that learning from the experience, one of the strategy for the future leaders of our student. The second is it is important to have some kind of linking between the history, the past history of the spicy route trading with the ecotourism, marine ecotourism. We develop not only the destination itself, but we have to link with the vessel or sailboat to other destination. And I think as the discussion in the key and answer, we already have some kind of answer that we need collaboration between Bali, Nusa Tenggara, and then Wakatobi, for example, then goes to Maluku and to Raja Ampat as a route. Yeah, so I can compare with how the China and European program for a Silk Route. They have a 3-month program for across the continent from part of Eastern Europe to China with 3 months program. So why we can also develop some kind of PNC route in the from Bali to east, or from Aceh to down to the Malacca and to Jakarta, etc. So it is kind of linking between destination in archipelago country. The last one is how the quality of human resources should be improved continually with the training and capacity building, as well as the sharing among the other expert and learning by doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bapak Kuni. And then next, Pak Ketut.
Okay. To achieve quality tourism in Bali, also in marine tourism, the ecotourism approach and principle is a sustainable approach for the post-COVID pandemic. But it is needs strictly regulation enforcement, also formation of social and economic, where Bali now not longer dependent on single sector, especially tourism sector. This is need a balancing among tourism with other sector, because the pandemic, Bali have learning many learnings. The mass tourism in Bali must to end, yeah. And in Bali New Era, we commit to strictly implement of ecotourism as a tool for quality tourism in Bali. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Ketut. Now, Miss Yana.
All right, let's summarize of what we have discussed today. Definitely sustainability and sustainable actions, they start from educated the youth, the generation Z and the generation X. What is very important is that we observed a generation that is quite sensible in and they understand that we need to take a different direction in order to protect our environment and definitely to protect our ecosystem. What we have shared today, all the speakers, I think that it creates a new setup of how the destinations and how the countries, they need to move ahead, collaborate with the private and the public sector. Education needs to refocus, it needs to change curriculum in order to embed it, sustainability, environmental management. Tourism needs to be a part of kindergarten education. Actually, any destination has a major industry in tourism. People, they need to be educated to understand that development is not for the foreigners. Development in a destination needs first to serve locals and then the foreigners. So if we embrace the tourism in a sustainable way, when I mean sustainability, I focus a lot because sustainability needs to cover the three pillars, and the cultural, the social, and the economic, and the environmental. And the economy is a major, because I was reading a lot of questions asking me how we can replace plastic. All the rest, they are quite expensive. All the other material, they're expensive because there is no demand. If we start, yes, creating demand for alternative products, then the companies, they will move to a totally different direction and create materials that they minimize the damage to the environment. We have observed major companies, I will not make an advertisement now, but definitely the market is the one that pushing us to a more sustainable direction. As Philip was mentioned, we are more than happy to collaborate. I mean, observe that there are a lot of young participants in the forum, so you can find our information. I'm more than happy to answer questions. I hope that with the other academicians here in the panel, we can collaborate and join projects. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Yana. Now, Mr. Filipos, your turn. Please unmute yourself first, sir.
One thing that is very clear in Cyprus as a mature destination is that we cannot compete on prices with our competitors. So if we all know that mass tourism is a very price sensitive. So if in Cyprus we have to increase the prices by 10%, the beach tourists that come for the beach and the sun, they might go to another destination in the Mediterranean, which is cheaper. So it's about time to make the sustainability the unique selling point of a destination. Since we cannot compete on the prices with other destinations for various reasons. Some countries, they are not in the EU. Be part of the EU, we have to follow certain rules and regulations that makes the product more expensive. So the workforce, the payroll is more expensive here than in other countries. So therefore, we cannot compete on prices. We need to focus on sustainability. Sustainability is a trend. It makes a good business sense. And we need to focus on other forms of tourism, which they yield more money with less people. So you can focus on experiential tourism, we can focus on ecotourism, we can focus on more authentic or more original people, or more original tourism. We want to sell experiences. And this is what the tourists will like. And this is what the message we get from the tourists. And we need to be ready. We need to be ahead of the competition. If as a destination here, we follow these directions, then we are certain that we'll be in a better position than the other competitors. So sustainable tourism is the way forward, is the only way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Philippos, for underlining the importance of sustainable tourism in the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, from the speakers, we learned that COVID-19 pandemic has developed change in tourism industry to be more sustainable, especially in marine ecotourism. However, although COVID-19 pandemic presented major challenge for tourism industry globally, some improvements have taken place through collaboration of public-private partnership and youth and community. In the future, as stated by Mr. Philippos, tourism industry is facing another important challenge, which is climate change. And therefore, it is very important for the tourism industry stakeholders to adapt sustainable tourism now to build better. So thank you once again to all speakers and participants who have already joined us today. Congratulations to our souvenirs winners. We will let you know, and the committee will maybe we'll connect to you later on today. And I hope you enjoy our trainings tonight. So please give applause of appreciation to our speakers and participations. Although we cannot hear you, but I know we learned so much from our speakers today. So finally, I hope to see you again at the next AIS Forum events. I am Velina Daniel, as your moderator, would like to greet you good evening. Stay healthy, stay safe. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon us.
Thank you.
Thank you to all speakers and participants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.